What's up guys? Today we're going to be installing a big brake kit on the 240SX. I am super stoked to have my friend, the Humble Mechanic, join me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I love this car. These 240s are one of my favorite cars, such an affinity, and these brakes are awesome.
You know, I recently did the 5-lug conversion on this car, so I went ahead and got it up on jack stands, got all the old stuff taken off so we'd be ready to go this morning. And with this Resto Mod project, I'm trying to learn as much as I can and try to consult the experts whenever possible. So again, thanks a lot for coming out and helping me today. It's gonna be great.
I'm pumped. Let's get to work.
Yeah. So I recently partnered with Exxon Mobil to develop 4 road trip videos surrounding pivotal portions of the 240 build. This is the first one, so after we get the big brakes on, we're going to take the car to the tail of the Dragon and put them to the test, and also talk about their new Speedpass Plus app where you can basically pay for fuel using your smartphone. It's pretty cool. So let's get these brakes on. Let me show you what I got. So I've had this stuff since like early this year. I've been dying to get all this done. Yes. This is beyond overkill.
Yeah, I would say, but you know what? Look, I think brake upgrades often go overlooked on many project cars, and including my own, I must say, as I'm bolting a turbocharger on a VR6 GTI and putting it back on the ground with the stock brakes. So I am impressed that you are doing this the right way from the get-go, man. That's awesome. This is a rockin' cool kit. Can't ask for much more than that.
So I think it's had some work done in the past.
All that looks pretty new.
Yeah. Cool.
Good deal. Let's get rolling. Where do you want to start?
I guess let's start with the front.
Okay.
So the first thing that we have to address are these factory dust shields. Because the original discs were 10 inches, they fit right inside this lip, but the big brake kit is so large, you have to modify the shields front and rear to get them to clear. So the instructions that came with this kit call for basically lobbing off the top half to, you know, just get this lip out of the way. So we're going to use that and fit it back on after, you know, grind it all smooth and stuff to make it all pretty. That way there'll still be some protection around the bearing area, but I am going to entertain the option of getting a proper dust shield that actually fits the kit one day, because there's going to be a lot more stuff that I have to do to this car over time. I already know that the ball joint's going bad, the tie rod's messed up, so there's a lot of work on the horizon, but for now this will work just fine. The last thing that I'm doing here is painting the dust covers, because even though they're going to be covered up by the brakes, I want to take a little bit of extra measure to prevent corrosion, especially on the areas that I did cut, and at least they'll look pretty underneath even though nobody will see them. So the dust shields are done. Now I'm going to go ahead and start putting together these rotors. So the discs are 2-piece all the way around with these really nice looking black aluminum hats. I'm going to go ahead and start with the front. I got to torque down all these screws to 155 inch-pounds. Before I do that, we need to put on a little bit of this high-strength red thread locker on each bolt to give it a little bit of lubrication and, I guess, holding ability.
Yep. Yeah, these are, we did some test fitting of the hat on the rotor before going back for the final assembly, and it's going to be no big deal.
Yeah.
Let's torque them down.
All right.
$37,000 bolts later, we are torqued.
Up front, I'm going to start off by taking the retaining bracket off of the coilover so I can move the brake line a little bit more freely. Then I got to undo this bolt on the back of the caliper, move the line over, and let the fluid drain for a bit. So before I put the dust cover back on, or what's left of the dust cover and the hub, I'm going to clean up as much of this as possible. In addition to that, I also plan on painting the entire wheelhouse here just to kind of freshen things up. I've already done it in the back, which you'll see in just a moment, and a portion of the underside. It's something I'm going to work on over time as I get access to underneath the car or can get the car up on a lift, because it just makes such a big impact when you have all of this nice and fresh. So now let's go ahead and fit the caliper mounting bracket. Have bolts, sleeves, little shims, put those in. Then we fit them where the factory caliper would go. Then I gotta put 2 additional shims on the inside, which I didn't do. And then this goes where the factory one was mounted. After that's in, gotta put 2 additional shims in the back and then bolt everything in place. Moment of truth. Let's go ahead and fit this disc. Oh yeah. That's gonna look nice in those wheels. So WIlwood recommends putting motor oil on these threads, so that's what we are going to do. Okay, so I already got the washers in place. This one already has the pads in, so let's go ahead and slide it on. Like a glove. That looks really nice. So I'm going to hand tighten these bolts before torquing them down. And just for a precautionary measure, I wrapped the socket in tape, so we don't have to worry about scratching this beautiful caliper. Now to torque them down to 30 foot-pounds. Those are some big brakes.
Dude. Pretty sure I've owned cars with smaller wheels than this.
Dude, you should spin it. Give it a whirl.
I like it.
Precision.
I like it.
When upgrading to a big brake setup like this, it's really important to upgrade the master cylinder and or the brake booster as well. I ended up getting remanufactured parts from a 300ZX twin turbo. The booster is going to give me better pedal feel, and the larger master cylinder is going to push more fluid so it can better handle the demands of larger calipers. The first thing we have to do is remove the connector for the fluid level sensor, and then undo all of the hard lines around the master cylinder.
Yeah, buddy.
Sweet. What are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to take the booster out. There's a retaining pin holding the brake pedal, and that pin is held in by, a cotter pin on the other side. So I need to take the cotter pin out, and then once that's all free, there's 4 fasteners that's holding on the brake booster. Once that's out, I should just be able to lift it out from the engine bay. But this is not easy.
There you go.
Ah, there we go. Oh yeah. Just a little finagling. Like a glove.
See what you did there? Always the community. Just twist off. Hope and pray that the thread pitch is the same.
That would be a kicker.
Hey!
To look at that one thing fit.
Something worked.
Just trying to get it through the firewall. I don't think that can fit much tighter. It's in there though. So I'm just about ready to install the rear kit, but the last thing I have to do is take apart the rear brake line, get it loose back there so I can pull out the retaining clip for the brake line itself. Once that's free, I should be able to take off this caliper and then we can get started.
All right, we're free.
Freedom! So this is where the factory caliper mounted to, but with the big brake kit we have new caliper mounting brackets that are basically adapters. So they go in the same spot where the factory caliper would sit, but there's extra studs that we put in there, put a little Loctite on, and that brings it out a little bit, give it enough clearance so everything fits properly. Now that they're hand tightened, we just have to do a quick torque to 30 foot-pounds. Now for the caliper carrier. Now that the carrier is in place, I can go ahead and put the new pads in, then move on to affixing the caliper and then putting in the new brake line. It's like trying to thread those old coaxial cables to hook up like a Nintendo Entertainment System to a TV. Yep. And they're extremely hard to get right the first time. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and finish the hydraulic side of the brakes, right?
Yeah, I figured while we're waiting for the hydraulics and bleeding the brakes, we can look at the parking brake cables and really evaluate the right way to construct these new cables we're gonna have to build.
Okay, that makes sense.
Time to bench bleed.
Yes.
Alright, so now I'll hold it if you like. I think you about got it, my friend. That's not too bad.
No? Today has been a very long day to say the least, but Charles is clipping the last couple park and brake wires. I think we got everything adjusted as it needs to be. The last thing to do, making sure everything is tightened up, put the wheels on, take it for a quick test drive. Hopefully everything goes well. This has not been easy, has it, Charles?
No.
All right, let's get some wheels on and get this thing back on the road. It's been about a month on these jack stands and I'm ready to drive. All right, we are almost to the Dragon, but still gonna make a quick fuel stop. Before we get there, the car's doing great.
It is on rails.
Really great.
Nuts.
I've driven it a bunch since we did the new wheels and tires, but this is the first time I've actually been able to push it.
Oh yeah, it's doing so. It's blowing my mind how good it's doing.
So I've been really fortunate to develop some partnerships with this build to help make the Restomod vision of this car a reality, and I cannot wait for you guys to see all of the content that's coming in the future, especially around the engine build. It's going to be really, really cool. But for us who are basically on the road all the time now between press events and this car going to Florida and to Tennessee and up north and just all over creation, we obviously burn a lot of fuel, so I thought this partnership with Exxon Mobil would be really cool, and to test out this new Speedpass Plus app that they have, which basically allows you to go to any Exxon station and pay for your gas using your smartphone. So the concept is pretty simple. You download the app, you put in whatever personal payment information that you want to do, or you can apply for Exxon's smart card. Once that's all in place, you just show up to an Exxon station, hit pay for fuel, and it's all done via the app. So it's actually pretty cool how this works. So once you open up the app, you basically have two options: find a station or pay for fuel. If you have your location services turned on, it actually makes things a little bit easier, because once you pull into a station, it automatically knows where you're at, which is absolutely wild. So once you hit the pay for fuel icon, you can either manually select which pump that you're at, or just scan the QR code. After that, you move on to the payment options, whether you want a car wash or not, and then it comes to a confirmation screen. The payment method is in, the receipt options are there, then you just hit authorize pump, select your gas, and get started. So if you'd like to learn more, go to getspeedpassplus.com/Kyle. So we are now on Tail of the Dragon.
Man, I'm so
11
excited.
miles, 318 curves.
Ooh, this is gonna be
My
fun.
gosh.
I've been waiting for years to do this.
Here comes a big one.
Yeah, boy, really gonna put these brakes to the test.
We are now in Tennessee.
Oh, sweet. I've already seen some crazy cars out here.
Oh yeah. 650S.
Oh yeah,
458
GTR.
Italia. Man,
Bunch
oh, man.
of Porsches and a million motorcycles.
calipers in the front is way over
Pretty aggressive,
car.
man.
But I'm really glad I ended up doing it. The car feels so balanced, and honestly, the braking behavior feels very similar to what it, you know, it's almost like it could have been from the factory, just with a lot more bite. Because with the, you know, with the upgraded, the booster and master cylinders pushing a lot more fluid, the pedal feels really nice.
It's a lot more of a balanced setup.
Yeah.
Dude, why did they make this road?
I don't know, but I'm so glad.
Dude,
oh my gosh!
Oh, it's like you're a roller coaster. That is so cool, man.
So much fun. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. The brake install was a blast. A huge thanks to the humble mechanic. Be sure to check out his channel. It can all be found in the description box below. And he's just about to finish completing his Turbo VR6 GTI, which is
sweet,
awesome.
Man. Is the white Wookiee?
Yes.
Nice.
I can't wait to see it in person. But again, a huge thanks to Exxon Mobil and their Speedpass Plus app for making this video and all the future road trip videos possible. Be sure to stay tuned next time, and if you haven't left a like already, be sure down below and subscribe today if you're new to the channel. Thanks for being with us. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.